Hi, I'm Kiwi,
I'm Jared.
and we are the two gentlemen coming to you on the wavelengths of the internet
From my lounge room.
and mine.
Behind the curtain. Yeah.
Jared, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Keeping well, and not just trying to get out and about, and as much as I can under the restrictions, and have a little bit, have some walks, and do my job as well as I can uh, with with what's sort of over us. But I got a walk planned this afternoon with one of our old schoolmates. So the area that I live in, and we both live in, because we're kind of restricted to where we can go. It's sort of it's not too far from like a creek that comes from a main water body. So this creek has tracks that go along it. So I've found a 5 kilometre walk that we're going to have a crack at this afternoon. I'm not known to be the bushwalker of such. I prefer flat ground and stable footings. But yeah, we'll see how we go.
Awesome. That's great.
What about yourself, mate? You got anything planned, or you've been working and you're just having a few days off? Where are you?
Yeah, so this is my weekend. It's kind of like a midweek weekend with the way my shifts work. I had
Yeah.
my second Pfizer jab yesterday, so I'm actually feeling a tiny bit funny. There's no major side effects or anything, just feels like I've got a bit of a head cold. I'm fine, but I had to have a bit of a sleep in this morning. I'll just be hanging out with the kids today. We watched a movie last night. I'll be practicing some guitar and just keeping myself occupied that way. So that's the main thing, just getting to hang out with the kids and do something fun for myself.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. It sounds awesome. Other than the head cold issue,
Yeah.
um, I with my second one, I felt like I didn't have any real symptoms for either. But the second one, you know what? The only thought, like I remember sitting on the front porch of my I had it on a day where my girls get minded and they get brought home. They go to their grandparents after school, and essentially get brought home at 5 o'clock in the afternoon or something. So I think it was like from about 2 o'clock to five. It was like I had a cloud over me. It just
Yeah.
I felt like that cartoon that walks around with a big cloud and the storm above it.
Yeah,
But
right.
I just felt fuzzy and a little bit sort of the mind was a bit foggy, and there was times that I was just sitting, I was just having a coffee, or whatever I was drinking, not alcoholic, but
Yeah.
I was having something, and I just sort of the time just disappeared. Like it was like, oh, the girls are home, and once the girls got home, I brightened up. But yeah, I was a little bit off, I guess.
Yeah. I think a cloud over the head, that probably describes how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can still
But
function, but yeah, just
exactly. Yeah. So it's all good. And hopefully everybody out there makes their own choices about whether they get their vaccination. But I've had both of mine, and I just want to let everyone know that I'm feeling pretty comfortable with my choice.
good on you. Good on you. Same. I've also found myself today or yesterday. I bought a magazine. Who buys a magazine these days? but but I realized I'm fearful actually of saying what it is, but it's the
TV
Take
week.
Five Take Five Mega Puzzler.
Oh, Jared.
I've completed it, and I've even entered online the answers, and I've got something to post away. So hopefully I come along and win. I don't know what the prizes are. There's some pretty awesome stuff, like a red luggage suitcase or something like that.
Jared, that's a blast from the past. Buying a magazine and using the post office. Well done.
I know. I'm retro. I'm old school. I like to keep it old school. But yeah, so I've announced it to the world now that I'm a mega puzzler from the Take Five magazine, which I think I would say that it's probably directed to females. So the wording of things and the prizes. But anyway, whatever. I'm comfortable with it. It's yeah, I'm accepting. So you guys have to accept it.
We love you for who you are, Jared.
Speaking of fear, mate, have you done anything that really, really knocked you around in regards to fear and made you really uncomfortable? And yeah, Have you been in that situation recently or in the past?
Not recently. Probably the scariest thing I've done as an adult was stand-up comedy.
Huh.
It's something that I always wanted to do, mainly because I love making people laugh. It's the best thing you can share with someone, I think, other than a meal. I love cooking for people too. But I mean, there's even chemical benefits to making people laugh. I think it produces oxytocin, which is a bonding chemical or hormone. I'm not sure what it is, but it helps create bonds between people. And so I entered a stand-up comedy competition, and it's something I wanted to do for 10 years prior to that. But I was like, oh, no, I can't do that. I can't get up on stage in front of all these people and try to crack jokes and make them laugh. And then finally, I just thought, you know what? I'm too old to not do it. I've just got to do it before it's too late. And so I got up there, and it was terrifying. I couldn't even walk up the stairs to get up to the venue. I had to grab onto the railing. I went out for a walk just before I was due on stage. So I had to grab onto the railing to help me get up there. And I happened to be really early in the competition. There were 15 of us, and I was third. So I didn't even really get time to settle in. But on the other hand, that was probably good to just chuck me out there. Anyway, I killed it. To be honest, I absolutely killed it. And there was a woman who, I think she went on first backstage with me, and she was like, "Are you serious? That was your first time up there?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was just amazed. So I was really happy with how I did. I ended up coming runner-up, going through to the semi-finals. Again, I was really nervous there too, which was, it didn't go as well. But, that's life. There's different rooms, different energies, and that's just how it is. But that and getting over my fear of mice, actually, because my youngest son wanted mice. And when he brought them home, when I first saw them in the car, I freaked out. I was like, whoa, what are they doing here? And I could barely handle it. And it was
Really?
it was rodents in general. So one of our best mates had guinea pigs. I don't know if you remember that.
Yep.
But one of them was on the lounge next to me, and I freaked out. I was like, what are you doing setting it loose on me? It's just a guinea pig sitting there doing nothing.
Sitting there, just chilling out.
So I got over that fear as well. Now I can comfortably hold mice and guinea pigs and all sorts of rodents. So that's me, Jared. Yeah. What about you?
Look, well, firstly, I just want to say that sounds absolutely terrifying, that guinea pig experience. And actually the stand-up comedy, I commend you. That sounds very not fun. I wish I could do that, and wish I could feel comfortable. And I commend you for breaking the barrier of that fear, because that would have been that's probably one of the worst things I think I could do.
Well, thanks, Jared.
Good on you. So what about me? Have I had anything? Is that what you asked?
Yeah.
Before I interrupted?
No, not at all. But just looking at you, you're not the kind of guy that looks like you'd be afraid of walking down a dark alley, for example, the proverbial scariest place in the world.
Yeah.
So is there anything that makes you afraid?
I find that the things that have make me afraid or cautious, they've developed over time. And I don't know if that's a normal thing. I don't know, maybe the fact that I've got more to lose, and, the fact that, you worry about the people around you more than you worry, which is a weird thing, isn't it? Like as a younger person, when it's just you just feel like you're invincible. And, if you do get hurt or something happens, you kind of like, oh, or whatever. But as you start to get people that depend on you, I think for me, that's when my fear or my fears kind of get magnified a little bit. Walking down dark alleys never was a problem, but now you start to think, oh, what if someone jumps out and robs me and takes my knees out or something, or I'm in hospital for 6 weeks because I've been knocked around the head or something. You start to think of the what ifs, and I can say that they've definitely developed, and it's only just a blanket development. It's not like, oh, I'm more fearful of this now. Although I do say my fear of heights have, no pun intended, heightened. as I got older, and I don't know what the problem is there. I remember my dad was always so fearful of heights. He literally can't get on 2 steps of a step ladder, like just cannot. So
Wow.
I don't know if that's developed in him. I actually haven't asked if it got worse. I remember as a kid, he wouldn't go out to the lookouts. Like, we drive to a lookout and he'd be like, yeah, you guys go. And like, so you're sending us out there. And
Wow.
yeah. And so I always remembered that with him. But as I've got older, like, he's talking about things and he said, yeah, like 2 steps of a step ladder, he gets giddy and hates the feeling. And yeah, it's a genuine fear. And as a homeowner now, and, I'm always sort of up ladders and we're always changing light bulbs and fixing things. And quite recently I was painting my 6 or 8 downpipes from the new roof that we put on. So I was up, and my house is, 2 stories high. So I don't like heights, but I definitely haven't got that debilitating fear for them. But I don't know, it might develop more as I get older. Who knows? I've got it in my genes, I guess. Dad's never been on a plane. So
Your dad's never been on a plane.
No.
Wow,
no.
I didn't know that.
No. So I played a game of, and not having a crack, it's genuine fear. Like, I feel bad, but I played a game. So I represented and end up playing a game in Queensland. So another state, we played against Queensland, and it was up there in a stadium called Ballymore. You probably know.
Wow, you played at Ballymore. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's like a hallowed ground, really, for listeners who don't understand.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. So I've got this coffee mug that has all the like stadiums around the world, and I was just drinking my coffee the other day. My wife goes, "Hey, Ballymore's on that," and I'm like, "Ballymore, really?" Like, it's Anyway, so Ballymore is hallowed ground for rugby. So yeah, which is in Queensland, and I flew up there with the team. And then Dad went to watch me, and I said, "Just jump on the plane with it's an hour flight." Like, nah, he drove 11 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, so he drove there, watched me play football, stayed a night, and drove back.
Well, look,
he did a bit of a journey, but yeah, like that's a genuine fear, and I hope I don't get that fear of heights to that extent. It's debilitating to a certain degree, isn't it?
Yeah, especially if it's so limiting that you can't get up 2 steps of a step ladder. Now,
yeah.
It's just going back to you though, Jared. It sounds like your fears have developed being an adult and being a father, I presume, as well.
Yeah.
So do you feel that it's because the stakes are so much higher now that you need to take more things into consideration?
Oh, I'd have to say that. Like, I mean, physically, like even like running out on the football field. And this is, revelation, end of my career, whatever, end of my time playing.
Yeah.
You go out there, and this is one of the reasons I have stopped, like, because you go out there and you start to think, what if I get hurt? What if I actually, what if I get seriously hurt? What if, you see people have accidents, and as a 20-year-old, 25-year-old, you're just like, whatever, that's 1 in a million. That person, had a serious accident and is physically, unable to do things now because of a sport.
Yeah.
But at the end of my time, I was like, you know what, this could easily happen. Like, it's like a car accident every time you get hit. If you get hit right, it's, your body's is fragile. Like, right. even though, it isn't, it's quite resilient, but it is fragile in some parts, and I definitely felt that. Just in general, like I said, it was a blanket thing. Everything, your health, you just have all this sort of, underlying sort of concern of like, oh, I need to. But it's all based around who you're supporting. Like, I don't want. I don't know if that's just my mindset because I don't know. I guess it's just something that that's within me. And I'm sure people would have the same, and some people might not. Some people might be like, no, I don't, whatever, we'll make do. But for me, it's who I support and who relies on me.
Yeah. So you're seeing yourself really as a much bigger person than just, this physical body. You're a family man and you're a husband. They're the things that get damaged really these days, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's what's at risk.
And I got 17 steps to get up my house. So if somebody breaks my ankle, how am I going to get into my house? Like genuinely, like I look at things now like that, and you think, do I have to sell my house now? Like it would be more serious if you get a permanent injury. You're like, oh, like I can't walk up steps that well anymore and whatever. So yeah, it's just things like that, like it's just experiences and, I suppose it's just seeing more things in the world and going, oh, if this happens or if that happens. And yeah, so that can be debilitating though. You've got to be really careful that you don't go over the line and become this, boy in a bubble sort of situation or man in a bubble, like you won't experience anything then if you're so scared about. So yeah, it's a hard thing, and take the current situation, you've got this fear, but you're trying to level it out, so be reasonable about it.
Yeah, I think you've brought up a really good point there, Jared. It's about balancing that risk and just living life, isn't it? Because it would be debilitating, especially with all the steps that you've got at your house. I mean, it's something that's really important to take into consideration. But how much consideration should we give our fears? That's the thing. I know some people who've gone all the way and have, I suppose, their lives revolve around their fears. Whereas for me personally, my life revolves around my hopes. Yep. It's just, I guess it's a different way of looking at it, but not so different. At what point do we draw the line?
Look, I don't know if I have the answer to that, Kiwi. There are some days where your hopes are on the forefront, more on the forefront than your fears, and then other days your fears are more on the forefront than your hopes. And it's a balance, like I said, it's a balancing act. And like I said, you could be just wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and then that day you're just being very cautious and careful. Then one day, or you get around a certain person and you become a little bit more, hopeful and a little bit more sort of, take some more risks that, whatever. I'm not talking massive risks, but just, in general, like, one day you might walk down that alley and the next day you go, yeah, it doesn't feel right. So you listen to your gut a little bit more. I don't know. So yeah, you're 100% right. It's all about balance, mate. And and what is healthy and what becomes unhealthy, and you just got to use the guidance of the people around you to let you know if you are going in the sort of the wrong direction or the right direction, like it's very much a balancing act.
Yep.
So how does Kiwi manage risks? How does your mind work when it comes to this sort of stuff?
You sound like my regional manager. How do you manage risk? Unfortunately, I've been involved in a lot of filling out forms for risk and compliance and risk management. But look, my organization has taught me a lot about it, actually. It's really, really boring, but it's so essential, risk and compliance. And it really comes down to identifying risks and then managing them, trying to mitigate those risks. And I look at that in my own life and what the biggest risks are. For me, it's dying and leaving my family without an income. So what can I do to mitigate that risk? And that's, I need to drive safely. I need to be as healthy as I can. And, Erica feels the same. She feels that, we need to be the best that we can be so that we're there for the kids for as long as possible. So that's the way I look at it. I'd rather look at it in a positive way. Like, what can I do to strengthen myself?
Yeah.
One of our former risk and compliance managers, about 12 years ago, lovely, lovely woman, she had this attitude, and she called it getting to yes. So you look at what you want to do and how do you make that happen, rather than go, oh, no, we can't do that. It's say yes. Like, how do we get to the point where we can say yes to that? So it might be, yeah, we can do that, but we need to have these things in place in order to allow this person to do that. And I think that's a really good attitude. That's a really good way of looking at it. So for me, my dream is to be a writer. And that's a huge risk because I can fail completely, which I have. That's the truth. And I've got no problem in saying that. I've never made it. But the biggest risk is not having any income. Well, the way to mitigate that and to give myself a chance to become a writer is to have a job that allows me to write, to spend time with my family, and to bring in that income. So I've done that. So I've eliminated that risk. So the risk of failure isn't catastrophic now. If I don't make it as a rider, well, my family still lives on. So that's okay. So that's my attitude, getting to yes. And I think it's a really positive way of looking at it. And yeah, she taught me a lot.
Yeah, she sounds quite wise. It's a good way of doing it, and it makes sense. It's you've got this goal of, yes, I can be a rider, and these are the risks that I need to make sure aren't, or essentially I need to cover. And you've done that by being able to still be employed and still have that dream. I mean, taking the steps to become that rider would be fun though, so you've got rid of that, let's just say, for lack of better words, the negative part of it of like, if I don't make it, we won't have money. You've removed that. So, the other bits now should be the fun parts. I mean, sitting down and doing something that you're passionate about and you haven't got that cloud above you, like that like we said, that sort of weighing on your mind, you can give your full to your goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Jared, I noticed that we're running out of time, and I really want to. Well, not totally. It's just that there's something I want to ask you, since you brought up fear at the beginning. Have you got a systematic way of breaking down fears and getting over them? Just if there's anyone out there listening who might want some pointers on how they can, get over something, especially a psychological fear. For example, in my case, getting up on stage, there was no actual risk of, a plane falling on my head or anything. Is there anything that you do, or is there anything you'd like to pass on to the listeners?
This is going to sound quite simple and maybe a bit of a, as if we don't know that already. But, I'm a simple man.
It's good to point out obvious things, Jared. We don't always look at them.
And it's only really something that's come to me lately, and it's been magnified a little bit even more lately since doing the podcast. And I'm just going to use just examples. One example in particular from questions I've received privately, and I'm not going to mention names, but people have said to me, one of the things they've said about what we are doing is it's really nice to see two old friends doing this, and they wish they could contact and be in contact with some old friends, whether that be from school or earlier or later in life, whatever.
Yeah,
20 years down the track. And my blanket response to them, and it's not a like a throwaway response. If you are listening, the people that I have given that response to, it's a genuine response of, from my experiences, just do it. Just put your head down and do it. We've got the tools to do it. Where there's so many avenues you can contact an old friend easily. And that old friend or old friends would probably be feeling the same, unless there was some underlying problem. If it's just the fact that you've drifted away through time, like we had, just do it. How good is what we're doing because we made the call to just do it. I sound like I'm sponsored by Nike, but essentially,
we wish.
But if you do have any spare shoes in size 15, I'll take them. But if Nike are listening,
I'll look in the garbage for you, Jared. Next time I look for my shoes.
Yeah, size 15s maybe not. I can't find them in a shop, let alone. But just go ahead. Don't think about it. The worst case scenario is they don't answer you and you're where you are. That's it.
Yeah,
and it's simple, isn't it? It's so if you can put that in other parts of your life, you put your hand up and you made your decision you're going to do some stand-up comedy, but at the time you were getting on that stage, your legs gave away and but you just did it.
Yeah.
And it worked out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to answer that question as well, Jared.
Yeah, I'd like to hear your opinion. Sorry, I was too busy asking in my answer.
Well, it was a great answer, buddy. I was just thinking of some of the things that I've been afraid of and how I overcame them. And when I was learning to surf, I had a lot of problems with my shoulders. I've got chronic shoulder problems from rugby, actually. And I had no faith in them. So I was worried that they could give out at any time and I'd just be stuck out there paddling. And it did happen where my shoulders just fatigued so quickly. I was fine with my cardio, but my shoulders, I just had major problems with them. And I was reading some surf advice, and there was this guy who talked about how whatever sport you're doing, you need to have a physical base and a skill base. If you don't have the physical base, there's no point even looking at the skills because you can't do them. For example, gymnastics, there's no point in me looking at whatever Simone Biles is doing. I don't have the physical base to do it.
Great.
So it kind of helped me just break things down. Like just work on, you think of Maslow's triangle, just work on the bottom layer of the triangle and then build up from there. So for me, it was just getting my body right. So I did a lot of rehab on my shoulders, and I started believing in them. I trust my body now to get to paddle for at least maybe half an hour or whatever it is that I'm out there for, or an hour. And when I used to do boxing, something I learned, one of the most important things is to learn to keep your eyes open and not flinch. So dealing with straight punches coming at your face is one of the hardest pressure situations you can be in close quarters as well. And I trained with this coach who put a rope around us. And so that way I couldn't use any footwork, couldn't get away from him. I just had to stay stuck on him. And that was a great drill because it taught me, look, just keep your eyes open when you're scared. The more you can do that, the more you can see the punches coming at you, the better you'll be. And the more you can control your breath. So that's what I learned. So just work on the basics and then just build from there.
I'd like to just basically say something on that, if that's okay. I know it's your theory and what you've been taught.
It's open source, man. Add to it.
But I'm agreeing. But I'm saying that in simpler terms, it's foundation. Yeah, it's the basics of keeping your eye open as you're getting punched. Like that's basic. Keep your eyes open. But what's our natural instincts is to close them when we're scared or when we're under pressure. The whole skill set to physical, if you haven't got the skill set and the physical, that's your foundation. The rest of it will come from that. So yeah, in my sort of my thing that I said earlier, if you've got the foundation of you set up right, contacting that person from your past should be then fine, So it's setting those putting those piers down, as they say, and setting that foundation, I believe. And I think that's what I take out what you just said.
Yeah, thanks for adding that, Jared. I think foundation's the perfect word for it. So thank you. But looking at a fear like your dad's heights, not being able to get up on 2 steps of a step ladder, the foundation there might be belief in his own coordination, for example. Yeah. I mean, I understand the fear of flying because really you are putting faith in engineers, mechanics, the pilot, the fact that there's no terrorists on the plane. That's a lot. Like, I can actually understand why someone wouldn't want to fly. Yeah. I'm just willing to take the risk. That's me. And everyone who flies is saying, yep, I'm signing up for that. And I can definitely understand your dad saying, no, I'm not signing up for that. No way, I'd rather drive.
Well, it's right. The risk doesn't outweigh the reward, or the reward outweighs the risk.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah, whereas my mindset is, it's not going to happen to me. I'll be fine.
Yeah. The old, what will they say? Oh, yeah, you're more likely to be hit by a bus or in a car accident than in a plane. And like, what? Now I'm not going to drive.
Yeah.
It's everything's a risk, though, isn't it, mate?
It is. It is. I think it's that willingness to lose. Like something that I have a really irrational fear of is, well, actually, it's pretty rational because my second serve is terrible. But I've just when I'm playing tennis with my mate, there's sometimes when it's time to hit a second serve, I just freeze up and I can't hit it properly. And I think, okay, I'm playing at the court at my apartment complex. This isn't, the Wimbledon final. Like seriously, what are you holding back for? If you miss, you miss. It's no problem at all. But for some reason, psychologically, I can't let go. I can't just fully swing my arm. And what is that? It's crazy, isn't it?
Well, it's something you've planted in your mind. And, and I'm going to plant more. Next time we play, I'm going to agree and say that second serve is terrible. And if you do get it over the net, it doesn't matter because I'm just going to hit a winner. So,
Exactly.
so I'm going to enjoy it. So the whole competitive spirit just came out of me there. I just say next time we play that second serve, I'm going to punish that.
Hey, we're just about out of time, but I really want to add that Jared has a wicked slice serve. It's so hard to read the curve on that thing.
It's I remember the last time we played tennis, I think you're like, do that serve and then run to the net and be like, because that's if you do get that slice serve back, it's going to be a lollipop. So
yeah,
run to the net and just finish it off and all that. Yeah. So I remember playing that game of tennis with you. I don't even know where we were, but it it was obviously early on because it's been a long time since we've done it. And I remember being so freaking sweaty and like with every serve I'd sprint to the net. Like Patrick Rafter style.
Yeah. I actually remember where it was. It was at these public courts out at, I think it's Cremorne.
Yeah, somewhere out that way. Yeah. But that was a long time ago. So I'd love to one day have a hit again.
Yep, come round, Jared. And anyone listening that wants to get back in contact with us, we'd love to hear you. Don't be afraid. Let's let go of fear today. Today is No Fear Day, I think. I declare it No Fear Day.
Whoa. Officially No Fear Day.
You know it's official. But please get in contact with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Leave a comment on our YouTube channel. If you've got our contact details privately, please, we'd love to hear from you. We consider you our friends and we love you and we're doing this for you. So hopefully you're doing well and you're enjoying all these chats Jared and I are having. And I hope that you can overcome your fears after this chat that we've had.
That's amazing. That sounded really awesome. I can't do anything to finish this.
Too scared, are you, Jared?
You're too scared to follow that up. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jared.
Thanks, mate. Bye.